My friends, what's going on, guys? My name is Kai. Welcome to the Sober Living channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. What I love to do here is just give tips, hope, and advice to anybody out there struggling with an active addiction, letting them know that there is help, there is hope, and there definitely is a way to recover. Guys, today I'm 373 days sober. Thank you so much for joining me on the journey. Guys, today I would like to talk to you about the hauntings that happened at the hospital that I stayed at. So, if you guys want to do a little bit of research for yourself, the hospital, the rehab facility that I stayed at was a place called the Homewood Health Center in Guelph, Ontario, Canada. So that's where I stayed, and that place was opened in the 1800s. It was actually opened up in, I believe, the 1870s, I believe. But either way, it was opened a very long time ago. I believe that it was actually Canada's very first dedicated mental health hospital, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But either way, it has a very long history. Very long. So, that being said, right when we got there, within the first 3 or 4 days, we were taken on a grounds tour. We were taken on a tour of the entire grounds, and we were shown what it was like. Now, on this tour, we were told about hauntings. Now, I'm not somebody who believes in hauntings per se. I am religious, and I believe in spirits, but I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe that ghosts are like here in like Earth realm and they're haunting humans. I don't believe that that's a thing that happens, you know. I believe in spirits, but I don't believe in like ghosts going boo, you know. But a lot of people were concerned about that. Now, keep in mind, when we were in the hospital, we were staying in one of the wings that was over 120 years old. And some strange things definitely happened. Like, there was definitely some lights going on and off. There was definitely there was some strange things happening. Nothing too big, but there was one particular thing that kept happening over and over again that made me kind of think maybe I should avoid that particular area. Okay, so basically there was a tennis court, right? And we all joked around about there being like some kind of Indian burial ground right underneath the tennis court, because it seemed like whoever went onto the tennis court would injure themselves, right? And it seemed silly at the start, but from the time that I got there, I was there for 45 days. So about 6.5 weeks. And from the time that I was there until the time I was gone, 4 people in my group, in my direct group, had to go to the hospital because of this tennis court. And it was so strange. It just seemed like every single time somebody stepped the foot on this tennis court, they would either blow out their Achilles heel, they would break their ankle, one person tore their calf muscle. I'm not a doctor, I don't know what the proper term for that is, but they completely tore their calf muscle off of their bone. Another person completely pulled their Achilles tendon. Somebody broke their ankle, and there was one other injury. But no matter what, every single time, whenever we had any kind of physical activity on the tennis court, somebody would go down with some kind of an injury. So after after the second week, I just would not go on the tennis court anymore. And now the thing was, we had mandatory physical activity. So there was points where you either had to sign up for the tennis court, or you had to sign up for basketball, or you had to sign up for... Actually, those were the only two. While the weather was good, I started in October, and I went until November. So while the weather was good, we did all of our stuff outside. So the only two options that we had were tennis, pickleball, and basketball. So at the start, basically half of the people would go play tennis and half of us would play basketball. But within a week of all of these injuries, everybody wanted to play basketball and nobody would step foot on the tennis court because it was haunted and nobody would step foot on it. And then what was funny too was basically every Friday we would get new people into the hospital. Admittance was done on Friday, and that's when new people would come in. So whenever new people would come in, we would always warn them. We'd always warn them, don't go on the tennis court, don't go on the tennis court. Why? What's wrong with the tennis court? It's haunted. And they'd be like, no, it's not haunted. And we'd be like, oh, well, we have to bring you to the injury wing then. And then we'd go over to the lounge, and we'd show them all the injuries. Well, what happened here? Well, the tennis court got him. Either way, guys, I don't think that it was haunted, but you got to remember, it was a mental hospital that was over 150 years old. So I'm sure that people had passed away there. I'm sure that some pretty crazy stuff has happened there in the past. You got to remember too, this was a hospital that had been in operation since the 1800s. So there was a time in Canada's history where doctors were doing experiments on mentally handicapped people, and I believe that a lot of those experiments were happening in that hospital. A lot of mind control stuff, a lot of crazy stuff that was happening, I think, in like the 20s and 30s. That stuff was happening in that hospital, so I can imagine that there was definitely a reason for people to believe that it was haunted. Either way, guys, I just wanted to tell you guys a little story. I gotta get going to work. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'm thinking about you guys, and I hope you're all doing well. Wherever you guys are in the whole wide world, please be safe, please be sober. And if you're not being sober, that's totally cool. That's totally cool. Just be safe. Have a ride home, guys. Remember, every one of your friends wants you to wake up tomorrow, and your family loves you. Alright, guys? Bye. Bye, guys.